to Occidental Petroleum shareholders concerning its proposed acquisition of Anadarko. You're unhappy about this deal for a number of reasons. Carl, I want you to tell me first, what do you object to most strongly?
Yeah, well, I object to the fact that they did a transformational acquisition that really puts the company at risk and didn't go to the board members for a vote. They skirted the board members' vote. It's interesting, they had pledged that they would always do, they would, in the future, you know, this was a few months ago, 6-8 months ago, they would always, in the future, go to shareholders and keep the balance sheet current. I say that all in the letter, and watch very carefully their debt. Not only did they violate that pledge, but they ran to Warren Buffett to borrow money so that they could only issue 19%.
But this is what I'm, if I could just interrupt you for a moment, Carl, this is what I'm driving at. Are you most upset about the lack of a shareholder vote? Or are you most upset, or more upset perhaps, about the terms at which the financing is being given by Warren Buffett? This is the $10 billion of preferred at 8% with a $1.2 billion, or at least by your valuation, warrant? Or are you objecting to the price of Anadarko? What is it that most upsets you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess it's all three. I would say, though, mostly, I object to the fact that they did this transaction at a huge price, that it's really could be even an existential threat if handled wrongly. In other words, this company has shown that they feel that they are not accountable to anyone. And this has been the facts for quite a while. And they have a board that seems to rubber stamp what Holland does, and this is a perfect example of it. But this is really an example that I think almost sets the stage for a watershed event as far as corporate governance goes. I mean, if you let corporate governance become a travesty more and more and more in this country, which I think it has becoming, it has become to some extent, I think is very dangerous for the future of the country.
As you know, Carl, the Occidental side of this equation would say we had to go to Mr. Buffett or someone else to get that $10 billion because Anadarko was insisting on 75% cash. Do you reject that argument? Or do you think they could? You say in your letter, you know somebody else who would have provided the same amount of financing. Who exactly is that?
Well, first of all, I can't go into that. I'm not going to go into that one. But first of all, when you do, Holland admits that she has very little experience in M&A. So you sometimes wonder why she should be the CEO of a company that wants to do M&A. You know, there's billions and billions of dollars of an M&A and not have experience. So to begin with, if they really wanted this company and they really thought it was good, they could have gone several weeks earlier, even maybe a month earlier. And knowing, everybody knew that that Chevron was talking to Anadarko. They all knew it. She could have come in and put a bid in, and then before definitive documents were done with Chevron, before that deal was done, I think the company at Anadarko would have to listen to her. And then she can find out what she has to do. She wouldn't have to panic the last minute and spend an extra $1.2 billion with Buffett and spend $1 billion for a breakup fee. So that's $2.2 billion that was just thrown away.
Carl,
and it was ridiculous.
For better or for worse, and I know in your case it's for worse, that's now tantamount to ancient history. What could have happened several months ago doesn't really matter right now. What are your chances of victory here? You're trying to get four people appointed to the board. That wouldn't be enough to have a majority. You're suing the company. What realistically can you achieve?
Okay, well, let's go through that. I think we can achieve something very important. The fact that if we get on the board and you know my record, Eric. I mean, if you go back, 20 years, 30 years, I think we've been very constructive in most of the companies we've been in. And I can show you figures that we made close to $1 trillion for shareholders over this period. So you can't say, oh, we come in and we're just a pain and we really don't do anything. We're constructive. And you need somebody like us or a voice on that board to keep these people honest. I mean, the board has done a deal that I think is ridiculous. Now, you can say, well, the deal's done, so what? But that's like saying, your kid takes the car and hits somebody, and you say, well, so what? They did it already. I mean, so you have to have some semblance because they could panic again. I think this was a panicky move that they did because I think they were afraid of being taken over or whatever. But even if that's not true, you need someone on that board or people on the board, and we think 4 of them, that just go in and have a voice of reason if they want to do another crazy M&A deal, or
Carl, what's the likelihood of them doing another, in your terms, crazy M&A deal while they're in the process of digesting Anadarko for $38 billion?
All right, well, I'll answer that. If oil goes down, Chevron could afford to see oil go down, and OXY can't, down below, say, $45 or $40. And if that happens, there could be another deal done. They could be selling the deck chairs on the Titanic. There could be a number of things that they do which may be extremely detrimental. Because what they did here, in the 7A program that they did, showed they have no knowledge of what they're doing in that area. Okay, you can say, well, it's done, so what? But that proves that something has to be done in this company.
Carl,
and I'm not the only one.
I understand what you're saying, but
there's
something that needs to be done. There's a black and white option here: buy Anadarko or not buy Anadarko. Is there a third way?
Well, no. I think, Eric, we're missing it. They're going to buy Anadarko. I think that milk has been spilled. That's over with. We're not going to stop the Anadarko deal. But what we want to stop is the fact that I believe there could be a time when they get panicked again. I mean, this shows that they should not be running the ship. So the ship almost went into the rocks, or do call it whatever you want. There should be other voices on that board. This board just rubber stamped a deal that made absolutely no sense, even if they wanted to buy it. And even if you can say that it's a good buy, they should do it. That's a great idea. They could have saved $2.5 billion right from the get-go doing it, and probably more.
That it's not real brilliance. In other words, you talk about prodigy, what it takes to extend the boundaries of physics. Neither of us has it. We have learned how to outperform people who are a lot smarter.
Yeah, we can't play top-notch chess.
No, we can't.
No. But we know how to do what we do.
But the other great secret is that we're good at lifelong learning. Warren is so much better in some ways in his 70s and 80s than he was younger that it's almost awesome. If you keep learning all the time, you have a huge advantage. And we both just like it.
And we have a wonderful group of friends, really wonderful.
From whom we can learn a lot.
Yeah.
Occidental.
Right.
Where you agreed to back them up. You cut that deal and then you called Charlie, but you knew what he was thinking already?
I didn't want to wake him up. He's on Pacific Coast time. I thought it'd be very unfair if I brought him.
Warren knew I'd be for that deal.
Sure, I knew it.
How did you know that? How do you know so much about each other and how you think
Well,
of things?
Occidental's in my part of the world, and of course I've followed to some extent the developments that are interesting.
And what do you think of the Occidental deal? Why do you like it?
I like it.
Why?
I think it's got potential.
Because?
Well, because I think that Occidental is right to want to do it.
To buy into the Permian Basin, to get more assets there.
Absolutely.
And what is it about the Permian Basin that you like?
It's got a lot of oil in it and gas. I don't like a desert just for its own sake.
I asked Warren this earlier today. If it's such a great deal and the Permian Basin is such a great deal, why didn't you just buy Anadarko?
Nobody asked us to.
Yeah, well, and it's, that may sound strange, but who knows if they'd come to us? You know, we do usually wait till people come to us. So it isn't like if we wanted to buy into the field, we necessarily start dialing and flying around and everything.
Occidental knows a lot about the basin, and we don't. Of course, we like having somebody with us that knows something about it.
Yeah, when we were at Solomon, we had something called Anglo-American, some promotional operation.
Anglo-Persian.
What?
Wasn't it Anglo-Persian?
Something. Anyway.
But it was
Anglo-British
or something. But whatever it was neither.
It was neither. Anglo-Swiss, actually.
Anglo-Swiss.
They came to the directors and had this big plan for drilling in Russia, and we were going to put up a lot of money and send it to Siberia and hope that we got oil back. And Charlie said, who's Anglo and
who's Swiss?
Who's Swiss? And of course, none of these people were. So they were lying in the name of the company, and that did not go over so well with the Solomon board when Charlie pointed it out. But we sent a lot of money to Siberia, and they brought
we never got it back either.
We got one little vial of oil. The guy came to see me one time after I became chairman, and he showed me this magnificent, exactly the kind of oil they wanted, and that's the only oil we ever saw. And it was producing 50,000 barrels a day toward the end. They just kept it all.
Anglo-Swiss.
Anglo-Swiss.
No Anglos and no Swiss, just lies all the way down.
Let me ask you, though, about Occidental and this deal in particular. If you like the Permian Basin, but you've also both commented on times when you think you've paid too much in the past. Is there a number that would hit that you would think, okay, this is paying too much for the Permian Basin, too? Charlie?
Of course.
All the time.
We always think that way.
Yeah.
But it's not anywhere near at the price that they're paying right now?
We don't know.
Maybe the last dollar. All we know is we're willing to do it.